Let's talk about how to recognize level 1 autistic adults, these adults that are here with us in our communities that often remain undiagnosed. Here are some things to look for to help you decide if you might want to go out and seek diagnosis. 1. Difficulty being aware of others. The internet says that autistics have a hard time putting themselves in other people's shoes. This goes back to the concept of theory of mind and how the differences between emotion sharing empathy and body empathy can make it more difficult for autistics to develop a theoretical understanding of other people's perspectives. Number 2, difficulties following and understanding social rules. Autistic adults are dependent on memorizing social rules instead of following immediate social cues. Since they have difficulties with social cues, when they find something that works, they tend to repeat it. This can make them overly rigid and dependent on following the social rules that they have memorized on one hand, while at the same time, they are unknowingly breaking social rules that they aren't aware of or don't yet comprehend. Number 3, experiencing anxiety in social situations. Autistics may feel overly challenged in new social situations where the rules that they have memorized may not apply. They may feel blindsided by social cues that they missed and social dynamics that they didn't understand. Number 4, exerting social control. When autistics have a lot of power over others, they may exert rigid control in social situations. Some autistics manage the difficulties they're having navigating social situations by using power and seeking to control the social situation according to their own perspectives and needs, forgetting that others are having different social experiences than they are. Number 5, challenges with back and forth or reciprocal communication. Sometimes it is difficult for autistic adults to speak much or use eye contact, but definitely not always. Many autistic adults have a tendency to talk a great deal. They may use eye contact less than non-autistics, but that doesn't mean that they won't use it. Their challenge may not be being shy or anxious, but allowing other people time to speak reciprocally. They may dominate a conversation without noticing that they are the only person talking. And for these reasons, they sometimes make great salespeople. They will talk and talk and talk until they convince someone to buy something. Number 6, challenges in communicating in ways that other people will easily understand. They may also have difficulties organizing their thoughts in a way that makes it easy for the individuals on the receiving ends of their communications to understand what they are trying to say, making it so that others have to do a lot of listening and a lot of interpreting in order to put together the autistic's message. Number 7, challenges understanding non-autistics' facial expressions and body language, which tend to be far more nuanced than autistics. Many level 1 autistic adults, of course, easily understand what it looks like when someone is happy or sad or angry or excited, because those emotions are easy to memorize and can be very behaviorally apparent. But they will have a lot more difficulties understanding the subtle facial expressions and body gestures that many non-autistics and especially high body empathetics use all the time. Number 8, autistics may speak a lot more bluntly than many non-autistics appreciate. Although autistics tend to appreciate their own bluntness and literalness, and they tend to appreciate it from non-autistics as well as from other autistics. They like it, although level 1 autistic adults certainly don't like it more than anyone else does when someone else is blunt in a way that is demeaning and hurtful towards them. And honestly, most autistics think that non-autistics' lack of bluntness and straightforwardness is often a negative thing. Number 9, a strong need for planning and routine. Many autistics really appreciate having the structure of a routine, even a very, very rigid one. And they may have a tendency to plan out the details of almost everything that they do. And number 10, conversely, they tend to dislike change. Change can make an autistic adult very uncomfortable. They may resist change with a lot of emotion and persistence. Number 11, oversensitivity to external sensory input, making it difficult possibly to go to places where there will be a lot of people and sounds and sights. Number 12, an undersensitivity to external sensory input, making it so that sometimes they don't notice or respond to a sensory input the way a typical person would. And number 13, having intense interests in very specific subjects, often called their special interests. They can get really intensely involved in certain things that they really, really love. Many people might consider it hyperfixated. And number 14, together, all of these things can make it quite difficult for many level 1 autistic adults to make and maintain relationships. They can especially have difficulties in friendships with non-autistic adults who really value using social cues and making quick, immediate decisions, and who get confused about and maybe often even annoyed with the way that the autistics are approaching a situation with maybe more rigidity and a need of planning and using memorized interaction patterns, and who might be interpreting social situations from the non-autistic's perspective overly rigidly. Although autistics tend to make better friends with each other, where they don't have to worry about non-autistics' many facial cues and quick interactions. Which takes us back to Damian Milton's double empathy hypothesis. Autistics do tend to better understand each other than they understand non-autistics, just like non-autistics tend to understand each other better than they understand autistics.